Welcome back, Fantasy Endgame community. You already know who we are. So let's just get to it. We're going to mock again. We mocked last night. We're going to be mocking every week, multiple times per week, most likely from now until week one. We're going to mix it up, Chris. We're going to do our typical. Usually we go 2 running back, 3 receiver. We're going to do tight end optional, 3-point tight end, PPR premium, something like that.
No, we're keeping it basic again tonight. Well, basic for us. I left it the same. I thought about maybe doing half PPR or switching it up, but we get different people drafting at different times, so I figure we'll keep it the same tonight. 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, full PPR.
I am intrigued. And I mentioned that because, last night we had somebody who said they play in a dynasty tight end premium, but it like 2-point per reception for tight ends, which sounds like you're really trying really hard to make tight ends matter. Some of them matter, but not that many, and they shouldn't matter that much. Anyways, yeah, we'll do something. We'll mix it up next week. Maybe we'll do a super flex or something like that, or I don't know. We'll see. You never know. But if you haven't subscribed already, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know every time we do jump on live. If you want to get in these drafts, they fill up in a matter of seconds. And just as I say that, guess what? The draft is full, and we are ready to start. So we draft with you, the Endgame community. If you're in the Discord, of course, that is also a great way to keep up on what's going on. So that's something that's easy. It's free. Sure, we have the link down below so you can join if you want. We talk football all off season every day. All right, let's just make sure that everyone knows Young Money was first again. He's still coming down from celebrating LeBron's historical marker that I think we can safely say definitely puts him a very solid number 2 in all-time NBA legends. I mean, he's got number 2 wrapped up. All right. We're ready to start?
We're ready. We got Andrea on the clock.
She switched it up and went from 12. She was at the 12 last night. I think she picked at the 12 a couple times now to the 1. So
here we go.
I got to get ready because I'm at the number 2. I've been going in the middle picks lately. I'm giving myself a number 2 tonight. You went what, 9? All right, not bad.
I went 9, which is always feels like a tough spot in these drafts, but I gave myself the 101 last night, so challenge myself a bit tonight.
And it's tempting to always want an early pick or whatever spot you like. We're going to do this, of course, like 100 times before the season starts. But guys, those of you who are drafting or watching these drafts, unless you already know what spot you're going to draft in for whatever reason, the way your league works, if you don't know, you have to practice from every spot because not only does it change who you might have, but who goes there will change depending on every league. We've seen a lot. Look, last night I got CMC at, what was it, the 6, I think, overall.
Yeah, 6 overall. Now he's going 3 tonight. Got him at 3.
You don't know. It just depends who's out there. There's the cheetah. I like it. Reminder, so we always do our drafts, by the way, on Sleeper. If anybody's wondering, I had a couple people ask. This is the one we use. They did update their ADP a couple weeks ago. It's not perfect. I mean, obviously, this isn't all exactly ready for 2023, but there's a lot that's going to change. I mean, we haven't even finished last season, technically. Still got a Super Bowl to take care of. But it is better. Rookies, I don't have to remind you, if you are on Sleeper, if you're watching along, rookies are pushed way down there. So you're going to have to kind of look for those rookies that you like.
We already lost Team 10.
I was going to say, is that an auto draft?
That was an auto draft, Team 10.
Huh. All right, I'm not sure what happened there. But maybe a gift for Nate. Maybe whoever he wanted is still there.
I think that's pretty good though. I think of all these drafts, that's our first auto draft that we've had. At least our first we've had people auto draft a pick and then come back, but
right. Yeah. I'm telling you, very different. We very grateful to our loyal endgame community, the guys who are always in the Discord and been with us since the beginning, always jumped in the drafts. I will say, though, I love seeing all the new members in here. Some people who haven't done these before. And yeah, we've been very lucky that, we don't have to wait for these drafts to fill up. They're waiting for us. So what you got here? Joe Mixon off the board.
Yeah. I'm debating between the pick here is probably running back, but I really don't want to go running back. I really wanted it to go wide receiver.
I was going to say, there's one guy I know I would have on my board, and that's who it is. Like, you can't pass Derrick Henry. And if it wasn't Derrick Henry, it would have to be a wide receiver, I think, because I think this is where the drop-off is. Well, technically, the drop-off is after Derrick Henry, but before Joe Mixon. But
yeah, that was my debate, was him or one of the wide receivers. What's up, Sam? What spot are you in? Don't say 10.
Yeah, hopefully not team 10. I'm guessing S Dubs. Is that him?
Yeah, probably. But you never know what people's name are.
True.
Yep, that's him. S Dubs. Yeah, so Higgins was the guy I was debating on with Henry. Hopefully it doesn't bite me. Hopefully I can still get some decent receivers on the way back. Which in these drafts, you never know. You never know.
You definitely don't know what you're going to get. Definitely safe to say that running backs going a lot earlier than they were last night.
Yeah. Definitely feels like a more balanced draft.
I think this is, fairly realistic, close to what most people are going to experience when they're drafting. I know a lot of our drafts tend to go very wide receiver heavy. I cannot. I guess I could see it, but I can't believe Kenneth Walker is still around this late after guys like Jacobs. Okay, fine, maybe Jacobs, Mixon, and Bijan, but all of those guys, Kenneth Walker was a first-round pick in the first mock we did.
Yeah. Well, Mixon was odd. I don't think Mixon would normally go that high, but yeah, I agree. I think, we look at the running back, CMC, Eckler, JT, Barkley, Henry, Bijan, Jacobs, Walker. Those feel like the guys to me, like, those are the ones I feel the best about. And kind of whatever order you want to put them in. Yeah, Mixon at the 2-3 was an auto draft, so that explains that.
True.
Team 10 is going to have a weird team because they're auto drafting, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and we try to just leave it as is because it typically goes by ADP, even though the ADP isn't really great right now. It's not like that's a crazy far out pick, Now, if they pick like 4 running backs in a row, then okay, we might have to switch it up.
Which it might.
It very well could.
Is that Breece Hall at the 3-1?
Yep.
I think that's the earliest we've seen Breece.
Who knows? Maybe he'll bounce back quicker than. You don't want to bet against a guy who's that young. We saw what happened with Barkley.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, the Barkley situation, because the Giants, I think at that time, still had Joe Judge as their head coach. And they had one of the worst offensive lines in the league. And it's better now, obviously. And the coaching is a lot better. Jets don't have the best offensive line, but it's definitely better than the Giants were a couple of years ago. So maybe he'll do better. Who knows?
So Atlas saying Dalvin Cook is going to suck, which is hard to say as a Vikings fan, but probably true. Probably true. Rise above saying Brees will be slept on again. I mean, he might be slept on again because of the ACL. You might be right.
Yeah, I could wind up being a great value. Now, I would say the 3-1 is a great value, but I think it's fine if you believe in him. Why not?
I mean, I'm not a Chubb guy, but I think Chubb at the 3-5 is great value.
And we're seeing him go consistently around round 3. Endgame community refuses to draft Chubb higher than that. Because of you. I'll just say it's because of you, Chris.
I mean, that's true, but also people tend to remember like when guys hurt them down the stretch and in the fantasy playoffs. And Chubb hurt a lot of teams down the stretch and in the fantasy playoffs. I think that's going to depress his value, probably more than it should.
Yeah, some recency bias. You got to wonder, here's the tricky question with Chubb, because he was still really, really good, one of the best running backs for most of the season. And then as soon as Deshaun Watson came in, the offense tanked. And then you can say, okay, well, if Deshaun Watson's back there, they're going to pass more. Chubb won't be as effective. But Kareem Hunt is going to be gone, most likely. And you got to guess Deshaun Watson will be better next year. So maybe Chubb might kind of wind up being a steal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Chubb will probably be what Chubb is. I would like to see. I haven't looked. I do wonder if his, goal line red zone touches dropped with Deshaun Watson. It did feel like they threw the ball more around the goal line with Deshaun than they did with Jacoby Brissett. I could be wrong on that. I haven't actually looked. Yeah, Etienne at the 3.8 is also value. Yeah, this is the problem here with going Henry. Yeah,
well, I mean, if you go anchor RB, Henry's a really good anchor. So who do you like at wide receiver? That's the problem, right? You got.
Well, it's not only that. There's a running back here that should not be this low, and it's like, do I go running back in this draft, or do I hope he comes back to me?
I think he'll probably come back to you because I think he's kind of buried down in the rankings farther than he should.
Yeah, he's definitely buried. It's just, and then if I go running back there, then I run the risk of my wide receiver 2 being, I don't know, not good. And then I really run the risk of my wide receiver 3 being really bad when it comes all the way back to me. So, well, there he went. He went to the turn. That was Ramondre.
Yeah. Well, problem solved.
We're definitely.
Huh?
I feel so. Sam is saying I feel like fantasy is becoming more about wide receivers. Too many split backfields nowadays with running backs. Hard to value running backs. Yeah, I mean definitely. But I feel like we may. Well, I feel like we've had an influx of a lot of good, talented wide receivers.
He's right, and even not just fantasy, but in reality, you see that wide receivers rule, and you see these wide receivers are commanding the free agent market like a big, superstar in the NBA would. The wide receivers requesting trades. You saw how many times that happened last year, and a wide receiver going to a team completely changed things. AJ Brown, of course. Now a team happens to be in the Super Bowl, not just because of him, but I think it's safe to say that helped a lot. Tyreek Hill obviously go to Miami, made that offense really good when they had a real quarterback in, and then I think it's going to continue that way. I think wide receivers are kind of the lifeblood of the offense, almost more than quarterbacks these days, because if you put a really good quarterback in with nobody to throw to, I mean, look at what Jalen Hurts did the year before this season. He was good personally, but not great, and his numbers just went off as soon as he had a stud receiver like AJ Brown along with Devontae Smith. I think wide receivers are almost the most important position on the field these days, the way things are.
Unless you have Patrick Mahomes, then it doesn't matter. You just throw anybody.
He's the exception. Yeah, you can put whoever out there. It doesn't matter. But he would be the exception.
But yeah, I agree.
So what happens in fantasy, it kind of devalues the position of running back in general, but it also makes those elite, the few guys who are the bell cows, the actual workhorse guys who get all the carries in their backfield, that much more valuable. That's why you can't wait on Derrick Henry, guys like that. You can't wait on the Barkleys.
Yeah, team 10, these auto drafts. I mean, he got JT, Mixon, Najee, and Zeke.
4 straight running backs called it.
That's brutal.
If it picks a 5th straight running back, are we just gonna change it and give him a tight end or something?
Yeah, I wonder. Can I turn off CPU auto pick right now? All right,
might be able to.
I turned off CPU auto pick, so we'll start just picking from the top based on need for team 10. Let's pick first player ADP based on need, which is going to be wide receiver for a while.
Yeah, it definitely did not.
Looks like I sniped Rise Above with that Ridley pick.
I'm really gonna be curious watching all off season where Ridley's ADP goes. Is it gonna creep higher? But how much higher can it go? It's already round 4. I mean, is he really gonna be a guy that should be picked in the first 3 rounds?
I think he will be by the time it's all said and done. I mean, all it's going to take is one preseason touchdown from Trevor Lawrence, and people are going to be freaking out and going nuts about Calvin Ridley again.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence obviously did take a step forward, did look better. The offense passed a lot. I mean, I guess that won't change. Christian Kirk's still there. He commanded a lot of targets. Zay Jones is pretty good. So, I don't know. All right, even though I hate this offense and don't even know what it's going to look like next year, I still feel like I can take a chance on Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood's going to be tough. But, I mean, I guess as long as they're – I wouldn't mind if it was Colt McCoy. I guess he'd be okay.
I mean, I guess I'm operating under the assumption that Hopkins gets traded. And, if he doesn't, then I probably don't make that pick. Where did Hopkins go, by the way?
He went in the 3rd round, I think. Yeah, right in the middle of the 3rd, 3-7.
Oh, I see him. Yeah, 3-7.
Cam took him, 3-7. Oh, you just got sniped.
I still got some running backs I'm okay with. In fact, I'm going to go here. Or do I wait? Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I won't wait.
Well, we did see that report today that the Cowboys, I don't know how, you never know with these reports right now, but the Cowboys plan on restructuring Zeke's deal and then franchise tagging Pollard.
Yeah, so the backfield will be the same next year. I got to think Zeke will be just a little bit dustier next year than he was. And Pollard was really good even when Zeke was on the field. I mean, they were both effective, really, the second half of the season. So if you think second half Pollard, and he should be fine, right? That was a broken fibula, I think it was.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
He's supposed to be ready for training camp. And it's not a tendon or anything. So,
yeah, you got to think he'll get more of the usage there for sure. He should. Atlas saying Ridley's going to be this year's Allen Robinson. I think the only difference is I get that, but at least Ridley wasn't dust the last time we saw him.
Yeah, I mean, I get that take from the standpoint that everyone's going to bet on a bounce back and it doesn't happen because he's going to be overrated. I can see that, but the difference is, like you said, Allen Robinson actually had been bad the year before, and really is actually going to be kind of fresh, right? He's rusty maybe, but rested.
Yeah, but I mean, I can see it. Ridley's definitely a wild card for sure. It's definitely a wild card because we haven't seen him play for a year and a half.
That's the thing is I don't mind taking a chance on him, but I'm not picking him in the first 3 rounds. No way. And for me personally, probably not round 4 either. So I know I'm probably not going to have him anywhere this year.
Yeah, but when I look at these, like when I look at the wide receivers that went after him, I'm not taking Judy over him. No way. Probably not taking Hollywood over him. DJ Moore, I guess, is close. Maybe Watson. Maybe Christian Watson. Probably not Evans. Probably not Ayuk. I mean, I think it. Let's go! Let's go! Oh shoot, that's right. I got a draft for this guy. All right.
Give him Sutton.
I'll give him Sutton, I guess.
Yeah. So speaking of Denver,
I know Nate probably wants Deontay here.
Speaking of that, for a second I saw this and I thought, wait, Manning's unretiring, but no, I think he means Sean Payton. All right, let's talk about Denver again. We're going to talk about Denver a lot this offseason. What is your gut reaction? Yeah,
I don't have a gut reaction because like this is
that's pretty much the reaction I had. Like,
it's like literally like on the one hand, you think, okay, if Sean Payton can get the best out of Russ, can get Russ back, then we're gonna really regret being so low on the Broncos this year. But on the other hand, if Russ is just dust, then it's going to be another year of pain for people who drafted the Broncos. And that's it. That's the best I can do. That's the best. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. It feels like very it's either going to go this way or it's going to go this way. And are you willing to take the chance that it goes the right way versus the wrong way? So.
And I think it's pretty clear with Russ. It's not at all physical in any way. It's just mental. It was, all the things we heard about, taking himself way too seriously and, maybe having too much clout with a rookie head coach there and not really getting fully motivated. But I think he'll be better. I don't think he'll be as good, as far as statistical output as he was in his best days in Seattle. So, I'm not interested in Russ for fantasy, especially in a single quarterback league. No, there's no way. Judy, I think, to me, is interesting. Sutton, I think, might be fine. I think Sutton might be fine. The tight ends, I think, might benefit because, Peyton usually in his offense tries to mix things up. And so I think that could be interesting. I don't see them being able to rely on the running game too much with Javonte coming off of injury. Oh, you did it again. You can't get enough of Swift.
It's the sixth round. Like, I thought about another running back here too. There's another running back I thought about for sure here.
I wonder, and it was thrown out there that somebody's gonna be worse than last year. We'll see if that scared everybody off of him. But we saw some big name running backs on the board.
Yeah, I know. There are some big names, and I was debating which big name I was going to take. And I'll throw this one up there now that Nate took him. Hot take. Taylor's got a hot take. J.K. Dobbins will be a top 8 fantasy running back next season.
Top 8? All right. I mean, I knew you were bidding on a bounce back, but top 8, and you're not a bold prediction guy. That's pretty bold.
Well, it's not my bold prediction. It's Taylor's.
Taylor's saying top 8. All right.
But I do like J.K. Dobbins. I do like J.K. Dobbins this year. I think Dobbins will have a big bounce back. I think he'll be good this year. Definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't go top 8, but Dobbins stands. I don't know. Oh man. Okay, I mean, I got my second running back, but I thought guys like Pierce and Monty would still be there. I guess not.
Nate's saying he was between Swift and Dobbins when he made that Dobbins pick. Yeah, it just feels like in the 6th round. I don't know how. It feels like it's worth a gamble.
Well, let me ask you this: if Dobbins was still there, would you have taken Swift or Dobbins?
Probably would have gone Dobbins, honestly.
All right. So I don't need a third running back now, but I feel like feel like it's still a good value.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's the other guy I was thinking about. I knew I know Dalvin Cook was, but in the 6th round,
well, how bad was he this year? He was still a top 20 running back in fantasy. He was still probably top 15. I'd have to look it up.
I think he was top 12 technically, which shows you how lame it is to say like, oh, he finished as a top 12 running back. Like, yeah, but he didn't help anybody. Here's how you become a top 12 running back in fantasy. You play every game, you score a decent amount of touchdowns. You will finish as a top 12 running back in fantasy, because how many running backs even play every game? Like even Najee, I think, finished as like the running back 13 or 14 or something like that, because he played every game and he scored a decent amount of touchdowns. But no one was excited that they had Najee. Like that's just how bad the running back position is. Like, do you play every game? You're probably going to be a top 12 running back.
Well, here's the thing that I think, despite whatever the final stats say, kind of made Najee a little better than Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was really solid, consistent, and startable every week until the last few weeks in the playoffs, and then he let down like the year before. Najee was terrible the first half of the year, but he was actually really good at the end of the season, so he helped you more in that sense. All right, and I just realized, because I'm still training myself to go quarterback and not wait till the last round to get a quarterback. So I think I have the last elite quarterback, assuming that he's.
I thought about him when I took Swift. I thought about him at that point.
I mean, I don't know how much I like Lamar Jackson if he's going to be an Atlanta Falcon, but we'll see.
I think he might have more weapons in Atlanta than in Baltimore.
Well,
honestly.
That's true. Better offensive line.
And a better offensive line. So Kyle asking, what do we do with Algier? Day 3 guy. We look good down the stretch.
All right. Well, let me say that historically you have to be drafted to be successful. I mean, there's always exceptions. Generally, yes. Is Algier going to be a stud? No. No, don't expect him to be an RB1 ever at any point. But he could be a solid RB2, more like a low-end RB2, but he's being drafted as an RB3 in fantasy. I mean, he's not going to take over, He was solid. Yes. I mean, how many backfields do you have a guy who's just, owning the backfield?
This is really a question that's going to be hard to answer until after the draft and free agency. Because, if Atlanta doesn't do much at the running back position, like if they just sign, some vet and don't really draft anybody of consequence, you got to feel pretty good about Algier, because he did look good down the stretch. And like you said, they have one of the best offensive lines in football, and they're a team that wants to run the ball. Now, he's never going to have like massive upside, because he's not going to catch 50 plus passes in this offense, but I think he'll be a very high end mid RB2 with upside, again assuming that they don't do anything drastic at the running back position.
Right. I'm actually more interested in what they do at the quarterback position, because if they do go out and get Lamar Jackson, which is, one of those rumors, yeah, that's going to hurt the running backs, because he's going to take a chunk of the carries and the goal line touches. If they do nothing and they say, well, let's try Desmond Ridder for a year, I'm going to like Algier a lot, because they're going to run the ball a lot, because they're not going to want to pass the ball a lot. And that's what happened toward the end of last year. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with Atlanta, is what direction do they want this offense to go? If Arthur Smith just wants, kind of copy the Tennessee model and just run, and only pass when you need to, and actually just try to only focus on the defense in the draft, I like Algier a lot. Not RB2 in fantasy a lot. Low end RB2 maybe, if everything breaks right, but a lot for this. All right, who are we giving? Gabe? I think that's fair.
Yeah, I gave him Gabe. He needs wide receivers.
And he might need a quarterback soon, team 10. So, number one fantasy quarterback this year, is it still Josh Allen? Or
no, I don't think it can be. I mean, unless they do something, unless they go out and do something crazy, like, bring in Keenan Allen or bring in DeAndre Hopkins or give him another really true weapon. I think it's got to be Jalen Hurts. I think it has to be Jalen Hurts. I mean, he runs a ton. He gives you rushing touchdowns. He's got AJ Brown. He's got Devonta Smith. He's got Dallas Goedert. He's got an elite offensive line. He's got an elite defense that gives him extra possessions. I think it has to be Jalen Hurts. It has to be the QB1. Like I don't understand why he keeps going after like Mahomes and Allen in like it seems like every one of our drafts. It's like people are drafting like it's still last year.
It's true. Like people don't want to like accept Hurts as the top quarterback, even though he is. I mean, yeah, as is, assuming Buffalo doesn't make major shakeup on offense, which I doubt. I mean, yeah, DeAndre Hopkins to Buffalo sounds great, but I don't think they have the money to do that. So go with a guy who has 2 elite wideouts and a really good pass catching tight end. Josh Allen still just has Stephon Diggs and okay guys.
Yeah. So we got a Hurts will be QB1. We got a Burrow will be QB1. I think the thing that will hold Burrow back from being the QB1 is the rushing. I mean, he does run a little bit, and he will sneak in some touchdowns. But Jalen Hurts, talking like 800 rushing yards.
Well, and what about this? Could Justin Fields be the QB1? I mean, look, if they add anybody a wide receiver, which they've got to do something, and Mooney coming back.
I mean, definitely. Like that's the thing. I could see the Bears offense being one of the best offenses next year, depending on what they do. If they upgrade that offensive line, they trade back from the one, and then maybe they take one of these elite wide receivers in this class, and then they go out and trade for another one. Like, I don't think they're going to trade for a guy like Hopkins or Keenan Allen, or even if Keenan Allen gets released, just because do they really want, a 30-plus-year-old wide receiver on this team? But look, remember this time last year, we didn't think Devontae Adams would be a Raider. We didn't think Tyreek Hill would be a Dolphin. We didn't think A.J. Brown would be an Eagle. We didn't think Marquise Brown would be a Cardinal. Like, there could be wide receivers that we think aren't going to get traded that, bam, they get moved. Like a young, good wide receiver, coming up maybe last year of their deal or something. You just don't know. You don't know. So if they're able to do something like that and give them, a true weapon, add a rookie, Darnell Mooney is still there, Cole Kmet, improve that offensive line. He's got the rushing ability for sure to be the QB1.
Yeah, improving the offensive line definitely would help a lot as well. I mean, they didn't really have a great unit up there, and he still did what he did.
Yeah, terrible line, and he still did that. So, and look, they have the ability to do it. They have the number 1 pick. They have $100 million of cap space. They can certainly do all of that, and they can even improve the defense while doing all of that. Like,
right. I was going to say the only problem is they have a lot of holes.
Like this Bears team could be a playoff team next year, no doubt about it. Assuming depending on what they do, of course.
Yeah, in the NFL, it's easy to flip from one year to the next. A lot of things change.
Yeah. Nate has QB1, Brock Purdy.
Clearly. Elbow or not, doesn't matter. I mean, even in a sling, take Purdy.
Yeah. Just throw it left-handed.
Yep.
Left-handed Brock Purdy, QB1.
Brock Purdy handing off, QB1.
Yeah. You just do like shovel passes to CMC and Debo all games, dude. Those actually count as pass attempts, so.
That's true. That's all he needs to do. Yeah, I always have a friend who's a hardcore Niners fan because from the Bay Area, and he saw me the other day. Went up to me, he's like, "Just don't bring it up. Don't talk." I was like, I wasn't gonna say anything, even though I was. He's like, "Man, like didn't even have a quarterback in the second half. Like we would have stomped the Eagles." I'm like, I don't know about that, but like, yeah, I get it. You kind of have a reason to be tilted.
Yeah, I don't know if they were gonna stomp the Eagles. I mean,
no. It would have been a game.
I mean, maybe. Didn't the Eagles like score right away and then they forced that fumble on Purdy and then they went down and scored again?
Yeah, I mean, they were up before the injury even happened. They were up in the first half. So, would the Niners come back? Maybe, but
yeah, I think it's a little much to say like Purdy getting hurt is a reason they lost, but Purdy getting hurt is a reason they had no chance. The reason they had no chance to come back because they really did not have a quarterback.
Right.
Pretty crazy to think the 49ers, Trey Lance, Jimmy G, and Brock Purdy, you lost them all. like that is just terrible luck. Terrible luck.
Cursed.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll go with my guy right after Lenny. Let's go back to back, maybe Bucks.
Maybe. Yeah, probably. But yeah, I was just looking at him too. I think it's still a solid pick. And you think about the worst case scenario is Fournette is there and does, kind of what he did this year. White still was viable some weeks. And I got to think whoever is at quarterback, they're going to pass the ball less because it's not possible to pass the ball as many times as Tom Brady has the last 2 years. So you think they're going to rely not just on the running game some more, but also short passes to White. I think he's still got a good floor. The ceiling, of course, isn't high if Fournette's still there. But I think as a third or fourth running back, he's fine. Oh, you got to pick for Team 10 again.
Oh, that's right. I was like, what's going on here? Okay. What does Team 10 need? QB or tight end?
Yeah, give him Freiermuth or something.
Yeah. Give me Freiermuth.
Gibby.
Ooh, back-to-back QB picks.
And back-to-back QBs that might not play next year. I mean, Tua should be fine.
Finally did clear concussion protocol, so that's good.
Yeah. I mean, it only took 2 months, but look, nobody hopes that Tua makes it through the entire season more than I do, but I'm not touching him. Just objectively speaking, the risk factor being what it is, because there is a very realistic chance that the next concussion is his last game, he's ever played. So that's the kind of risk I don't want to take on in a single quarterback league.
Yeah, I agree.
Kyler, I already said my piece about Kyler last night. Flowers, nice pick. All right, quarterback. Well,
yeah, I guess quarterback here.
The pick here is obvious.
Let's go with the Russ bounce back.
Yes, to stack with Sutton.
That's right. Is he still on the Burrow alert? Yes, he is. Take a chance. Take a chance if Montgomery goes somewhere else, and they're fine with Herbert. And they improve the offensive line.
It's a good pick. I was wondering about Michael Thomas. Someone will take a shot there.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm don't see rookie tight ends go often. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up, and I'm sure people will freak out wherever it is. And we'll get all the tweets. What year was it? 2019?
For Michael Thomas?
Yeah. What year did he break the record?
It was 19. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get the tweets. Don't forget in 2019, Michael Thomas did this, this, and this. Yeah. Okay. 4 years ago.
Yeah. How could I forget? It was the other day.
Yeah. It's funny to think back, like to the beginning of last season. How many people thought Michael Thomas was a steal? Like, oh my gosh, pulled a fast one on everybody with Michael Thomas, right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked like a steal. James Robinson, people thought James Robinson was winning them championships. Right? It was like week 3, and it's like, I'm gonna win because I have James Robinson. I'm winning this thing.
Things change fast. Yeah. Look, I said it, I meant it. Michael Thomas, not even in the last round. I'm not doing it this year either. There's no chance.
No, like just why? What is he gonna be? 30 now? He's played what, like, how many games has he played since 2019? Like 6 games?
Is it that many?
Yeah, it might not even be that many.
I think he played like 3 last year. Yeah.
So let's see. Since 2019, when he set the record, he's played 10 games.
That's a lot more than I thought. Not even kidding.
Jane here, he likes that Tony pick.
I actually just got sniped on Josh Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer will be interesting, especially if these Keenan reports are true and they actually do release him.
Yeah, he's a guy who needs, to get that target share. Like, he was really good in the weeks where he was out, right? So if Allen is out, I mean, it's possible, depending what you believe and all this speculation, the writers, but for the salary cap, they talk about guys who could be casualties. Keenan was one. Gerald Everett was one. What if they both get cut? I mean, that would be great for Palmer.
What's up, Marquise? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing well.
What's up, Marquise? Marquise from North Carolina, right?
Yeah, Panthers. I'm
gonna be in North Carolina in about like a month from now. I'll be hanging out there, so. Forgot about Claypool. Think he does anything in Chicago?
I don't know. I mean, again, it's going to really depend. Like, this could be a drastically different offense and team next year. But at this point, like, the list of wide receivers who didn't, I mean, all people are going to say he did something his rookie year, but really just scored a bunch of touchdowns his rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of a big player bust guy to some extent.
I'm just going to give this team whoever at the top of the queue. Okay, now we have 4 straight quarterbacks.
Is he auto drafting? Doesn't look like it.
Not auto drafting. Nate saying he's as out on Claypool as you are on MT. Yeah, I'm pretty out on Claypool. Pretty out on Claypool for sure.
Yeah, I've really not ever been a huge fan of Claypool, anyways. So going to Chicago just kind of cements it for me. Yeah, next week we will do maybe a 2 quarterback or super flex, but that's not this. So it's not dynasty either. Not dynasty. So the 4 quarterbacks doesn't quite pan out.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy there.
All right, Daniel Jones. I'm assuming you got sniped on the rookies. By the way, Chris, if it makes you feel better, you did take Njoku before I could. I thought he would make it back to me. I was wrong.
Yeah, I feel like this is about where I like to grab Njoku before somebody else does.
Should have seen it. Actually, I just kind of did a quick scan of looking for orange, and I thought everybody had a tight end. I did not notice that you didn't, so that was my bad. It's all right. I got Albert O queued up.
Albert O.
Or just Taysom Hill. Nice pick with Madison.
Yeah.
All right. Trey Lance.
Trey Lance.
Backup Justin Fields.
That's the first time we've seen Trey Lance on one of these.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe one of the early ones, somebody took him last, but all right, well, I guess I can wait and tight end now for my last pick. So take a guy I know you like.
Yeah, like Nico. Worth it. Worth the gamble. Worth the gamble late, for sure.
Yeah, because you got to think with the Texans. I mean, obviously, they have to. And that's funny, Andrea, because I didn't need a running back there. I had Zamir White, but I was like, no, I need another wide receiver. But Zamir White, good pick. And I like Zach Evans. She's got like all my guys in this draft. Okay, well, maybe not. You have Miles Sanders. But all the other guys are my guys. I don't remember what I was. Oh, the Texans. I mean, they've got to take a quarterback, right?
I mean, that's the theory.
They got to. And if so, you think they're going to address offensive line also. Their O-line's not bad, but you think they'd get at least some piece, right? And then even if they do add a receiver somehow, Brandon Cooks probably is going to be gone, so that's just replacing him. Collins still could be the number 2 guy there. So I do like his upside.
Well, remember that. I mean, don't forget they drafted Mechie last year, and they're saying he should be good to go this year. So they may feel okay at wide receiver. We'll see.
That's true. I almost forgot about Mechie. In fact, I actually would be a sneaky pick here. Nobody, because where is his ADP is probably non-existent.
Yeah, he's probably not even. He's probably buried, for sure buried.
Ranked 385.
It's pretty buried.
I mean, obviously there's some risk because, could come back. We don't know for sure how things will pan out, but says he's ready for off-season.
Yeah, we'll see.
Could be ready.
Yeah, lots of players are ready for off-season when it's February.
Yeah.
We'll see when the off-season rolls around.
Well, the thing with him,
I don't know how Brock Purdy is going to have surgery at the end of this month and then be ready for training camp.
He'll be ready to watch training camp. Like, he'll be out there.
That seems very optimistic to me, but we'll see. We'll see, I guess.
But Actually, the thing with Mechie too is that, obviously the leukemia, and if that's clear, but he also wasn't going to play last year anyways because he was coming off a torn ACL. So you got that.
Yeah.
You got the double whammy there. There's some issues, but I don't mind taking a shot on him late. And taking a stab in the dark. Let's see who it is. Whoa. All right. Tyjae Spears from Tulane. So did get some or is getting some buzz because of the Senior Bowl standing out. See, I mean, obviously that makes an impression on scouts and franchises, might boost his draft stock a little bit. Is he the kind of guy who could be a feature back? I don't know. Not a super big guy, but we'll see what happens. I don't mind taking a shot like that.
I feel like there was a time when the Senior Bowl kind of mattered. I feel like these days, if you go to the Senior Bowl, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, because you didn't come out early enough because you weren't good enough.
Yeah, and it's like you have to showcase a little bit more of yourself to the scouts.
Yeah.
Like you don't see. I mean, you look back in the past. All right, he can have CEH. Like I think you look back in the past. I think we've had guys like Phillip Rivers played in the Senior Bowl. I think LaDainian Tomlinson played in the Senior Bowl. The Dan Marino played in the Senior Bowl. I feel like there used to be like some big names that would play in the Senior Bowl, and now it's like, you only go to the Senior Bowl if you're not sure about your draft stock.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. It's not exactly the beacon for shining stars in the NFL next year. But hey, last pick of the draft. I'm all about taking stabs on rookie running backs, honestly. Pass over these guys like Zeke and Fournette. I'd give me a guy like a Devin Achane or Tank Bigsby instead. All right. Oh, Nate's saying, did the Sun God was he in the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, and he was the 4th round pick. He just a Sun God's an anomaly for sure. Sun God's an anomaly for sure.
Yeah. All right, pretty good. How do you feel about your team in this one?
I feel pretty good. Even though I went Henry early, I still like my wide receivers. I got Ayuk as my wide receiver 4. I got Bateman. I got potential at RB2. I got Lawrence. I got Njoku. I like my team. I'd be okay with this team.
Yeah, Swift, you definitely got high upside there at RB2. Took Njoku for me. Yeah, I wasn't planning necessarily. I mean, I knew at the 2 I would go receiver. I wasn't planning to take a running back. I didn't also plan that Walker would be there, so I was happy with that. I'm happy with my first 3 picks. Debo at the 3. I love that. I don't love Hollywood, but I think I liked him better than the other receivers. I just wonder if I should have gone more upside with a guy like Watson, who I got the last drafts. But look, if Hopkins does leave, I think that could be a good pick. And then Pollard and Cook I only took because they were great values where they fell.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would have gone Watson. I would have gone Watson over Hollywood, but I agree with you on Pollard and Cook.
Yeah, that was the only one. I'm like, I don't love Hollywood there, but it was okay. And then I like that I got Lamar where I got him. I feel like he's the last of those elite quarterbacks. And my wide receiver depth isn't great, but I took some shots here on some sleeper guys. So it'll be okay. All right. Another expert draft. Well, next draft will be when?
Tomorrow.
Well, there you go. Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Do we feel like critiquing Nate? Always. No, just kidding. Let's break down his team. All right, he got Barkley, got AJ Brown, then is round 2, which is nice. Pittman, Scary Terry, Deontay, J.K. Dobbins, and you're like in the round 6. Goddard, Jordan Addison, who I feel like I should have taken earlier. Gibson, Flowers, Gainwell, Daniel Jones at quarterback, and OBJ.
Yeah, I I like this team a lot. I mean, obviously, QB could be a question mark depending on Daniel Jones. But keeping AJ Brown, Pittman, McLaurin, Deontay. I know he's high on Deontay. Getting Dobbins there is great. Goddard. I like this team. I think it's a very good team.
Yeah, I mean the only issue, like I said, I wouldn't want Daniel Jones as my starting quarterback, but you did play the weight game, so you could always replace him if you need to stream throughout the season. That's not ideal because we're trying to say like it's probably worth getting a quarterback earlier. I think just the way things panned out, you didn't really get the chance because you went Dobbins, which was a good pick, and so you missed out on Lamar and Lawrence. And then you got Goddard and Addison, which were both good picks, and you didn't get Dak. Like, I'm okay passing on Dak. He's not elite for fantasy. He put up some really good numbers this year, obviously. But look, new offensive coordinator next year, and I think a lot of people think that's going to be a downgrade at offensive coordinator. So, I mean, I guess what is McCarthy going to be calling the plays technically?
McCarthy going to be calling the plays, so we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, that's what he does, right? That's obviously his thing. We'll see how that pans out because he hadn't been doing it. So quarterback's the only issue, but I really like the first half of your draft a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Agree.
Yeah. 8.5. Yeah. Well, that's a good point. Did not know you're going to see 4 straight quarterbacks. Actually, you know what I don't hate is like if you're down there in like Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson territory, take Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I like Stroud better than Young personally, but yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, I like Stroud better too, but yeah.
But depends where they get drafted. Okay, Nicholas wants to know about his. He is team 3. Went CMC Jacobs, Metcalf, Judy, and then Jameson Williams as a wide receiver 3 with Mooney and Zay Jones. Got Justin Fields and Hawk, Charbonnet, McKinnon, and Trey Lance. What do you think?
See, I would have preferred you gone wide receiver over Hawkinson. Just because when you start running back, and then you grab an early QB, you're really behind at wide receiver. Remember, this is a 3 wide receiver, 1 flex. So now your wide receiver 3 is going to be one of Jameson, Mooney, or Zay Jones. And then you're probably going to have to flex one of those guys. Not feeling good. And I don't, Hawkinson is fine at tight end. I don't think there's an issue with where you took Hawkinson as far as the value, but he's a tight end. He's not going to, there's like one difference making tight end. His name is Travis Kelce, and he went pick 12. Like he's a good tight end, but he's still just a tight end. I think you would have been better off like going Tyler Lockett there. And then now you got Lockett as your wide receiver 3, and then now you're looking at, a little bit better in your flex. And you still could have gotten, you look at here, I mean, you still could have gotten Evan Engram, still could have gotten Freiermuth and Njoku. Like there's still decent tight ends that you can get. So that's what I would have done differently.
Yeah, and I know he might say, well, I wouldn't take Lockett because I had DK. But, DK, you could have got Keenan Allen or Mike Williams or somebody like that. But the idea is Jameson Williams, look, maybe he will pay off, but it's just a little risky, right? Just a little risky taking Jameson. I mean, that could be a great pick, but I don't know that I would want him as my starting receiver every week.
But even if he's good, even if Jameson is good, you still have to flex one of Charbonnet, Mooney, Zay Jones, McKinnon. Like, yeah, maybe that'll work out for you, but
Yeah. So the thought is, I mean, the drop off between Hawkinson and like Engram and Njoku isn't that much compared to the drop off between like a Lockett and a Zay Jones.
Yeah. Zay Jones, assuming Ridley commands a higher target share. So
or Mooney or running back. But good overall, solid team. I do like you got good values. Fields, where you got him was smart because you saw before those other quarterbacks went off the board. I think Jameson Williams, where you took him, I think that's fine. I think that's a good pick. Yeah, it's hard to go quarterback and tight end early in the first few rounds. And this year, I mean, a couple years ago, it was like, take a tight end early. You got to get one of those big three, but you wait on quarterback. It's flipped now. You need to go quarterback early and get one of those elite guys and wait on tight end. I think that's the idea. Rise went QB early, team 8 right before you. So Mahomes in the 4th round. I don't think we mind that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I would have, like I said, I think Hurts is a QB1, but I don't mind going QB early. Like, totally go with QB early this year. Totally go with it. And there's nothing wrong with Mahomes. Mahomes will be great. Like, Mahomes will be great.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Mahomes in round 4 is fine.
Doesn't even matter.
No, I like Mahomes in round 4 better than Javonte in round 5. But
yeah, that's the pick. I'm just not.
Well, now that I look further, then you got Kamara in round 7 and Fournette in round 9. So, I mean, great big names, right? Guys who have been fantasy studs, but I don't know that we expect Kamara or Fournette to be fantasy studs next year, or Javonte.
I mean, I can tell you I don't expect them to be fantasy studs. And especially when you have guys like Dobbins, Swift, even Montgomery, even Pierce, even Dalvin Cook, like guys that we could at least feel a little bit better about. Again, I like Javonte. I hope he somehow bucks the trend. But the odds are really, really, really stacked against them. Really stacked against them.
Right. Then Sam made some questionable decisions in the second half. Well, let's see. Start out with 3 studded receivers. That's good. Aaron Jones, Monty, got Herbert, you went Schultz. Pacheco, Tony. I don't mind Tony there. I think that's fine. I mean, Claypool, Hunt, Spears, maybe. So you took some shots. You took multiple shots. In fact, the last 5 rounds, I say, were all kind of dart throw guys. What do you think? Is there a good enough depth here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's potential, but there's also lots of bust potential there. And again, like, I like that start. Adams, Higgins, Hopkins. I like Aaron Jones. Going Justin Herbert there. Going Monty there is fine. I think the picks that I don't like are the Schultz and the Pacheco pick. I would have liked to have gotten another wide receiver in there to have that solid flex, that you can feel good about week in and week out, especially in a PPR format. Like, if you could have gotten, like, instead of Schultz, if you had gone, I don't know, Dotson, Jackson Smith, Addison, Bateman, one of those guys, depending on who you like, or maybe even instead of Monty. Oh, that's good value for Monty. I don't know. I just like to have, like, those. I like to have a 4th in these drafts where it's 3 wide receiver and a flex. I like to have a 4th good receiver I feel good about before I start focusing, on the other positions. I mean, I'll go early QB, but, like, if you notice my draft, I took Derrick Henry early. I did debate Ramondre. Then I made sure I had Ayuk, and then I was able to grab, Swift there. So I think if you could have grabbed, even if you, instead of Monty, if you'd gone Pickens or Lockett, just to shore up that 4th, like that flex position, and then start loading up. And I also probably would have liked it if you loaded up more at wide receiver down. Like, really didn't need that second tight end. Another receiver there might have helped.
Well, and that's the thing. Taking a second tight end, not necessary. But let's say you feel good about Mayer, not knowing where he's going to wind up, obviously. But let's say, oh, look, Green Bay is going to draft a tight end finally, now that Aaron Rodgers is gone. Or, he's in a great landing spot, or I don't care where he lands. He's such a good tight end. He's the best pass catching prospect, whatever. Commit to it. Like, then take him. And if he doesn't pan out, you drop him and you stream tight ends. Like, that's what you did. And you have a good wide receiver in place of where you did take Schultz. Or you could have passed on Schultz, and the next round you could have gotten Pitts or Ingram. So, yeah, I agree. I would have taken Bateman Bateman or Jordan Addison would have been a good pick there. So, and I'm looking to, honestly, I try to practice what we preach, but we're busy talking and looking at all the other teams, and I'm looking like I should have taken my 4th receiver earlier. But I was like, Pollard's a great value. Cook's a great value. I need a quarterback. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to be starting a rookie as my flex. But
well, not necessarily, because in your case, you could be flexing Dalvin Cook, which isn't the worst.
He's good enough to flex.
Yeah, he's definitely good enough to flex. So that's what I mean. Like, even if it wasn't, okay, even if you didn't like the receivers there, like if you could have taken even a running back there over Schultz, because again, my whole thing is like Schultz, just like with Hawkinson, like even if Schultz is a good tight end, he's probably not going to be a difference-making player most weeks. Like, yeah, still have some weeks where he catches 2 touchdowns, and you're like, yeah, Schultz, he won me my week. But most weeks, he's just going to be solid. And really, most tight ends, even the good ones, are barely flex players. When you look at it over the course of a season, they're barely flex worthy. They're just good because they're a tight end, right? I think like the tight end 3 or 4 usually averages like 12 or 11 points per game. That's barely flex worthy in a PPR league. So
exactly,
yeah, to me, it's like Schultz. I'd rather wait even on Njoku or Komet. Like, yeah, I would rather just wait over a guy like Schultz.
And that's the thing, we get carried away, I think, sometimes collectively, we as a fantasy community, because you look at a guy like a Kittle, maybe sometimes a Schultz, right? Or Hawkinson, the way he ended things, like, oh, he's really good at tight end. Like, he's one of the best tight ends. So relative to the position, sure, he's one of the better players. But when you look at the big picture and what he does for your team and in your lineup, relative to wide receiver or running back or quarterback, it's not that good. It's not as important, because, like I said, the drop off between a guy like Schultz or Ingram might actually not be a drop off. Ingram could be better than Schultz. Or the drop off between a guy like what we were saying earlier was like Hawkinson and like Komet or Njoku, whoever. Maybe a couple points a game. Like maybe they'll have a couple of fewer spike weeks. Much less significant than the drop off between whoever you had at receiver, because you took, tight end early and you had to wait for a receiver than who you could have gotten. So anyway, gotta give props to your fantasy dog.
Thank you.
We're dog people.
You. Appreciate that.
Appreciate that. And then Atlas saying good night.
Dog.
Glad another dog. Glad you were able to join us and finally get in. And yes, glad you mentioned that. Different spots. You'll notice every time we draft, Chris and I will each pick a different spot, not just to, not always claim a spot, but it's good practice for us, right? We know who we can get at different places. That's how you need to do it, guys. Whenever you mock, purposely pick from different places. Even if you think you know what spot you're going to get, or if you do know, it's still good to experience what is going to be available in that spot. It helps you become more knowledgeable.
Definitely.
All right. I think that's a wrap for tonight. We'll see you again soon. If you're not already subscribed, hit subscribe. And if you click on the notification button, that means that when we do go live, anytime we draft, which will be a lot throughout the entire offseason, you will know, and you can jump on and join with us. That's right. You can draft with us and or against us all offseason, so that you can get better and prepared to dominate your league next year. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.